Welcome to John McGivern's Main Streets, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of this popular TV program.
I love it!
You'll hear from John, Main Streets producer and director Lois Maurer, and that episode's content producer as they share some of their favorite memories from filming and interesting stories that you won't find anywhere else. Today's episode, De Pere, Wisconsin.
Today we're talking about De Pere. It's our second episode of our second season. I'm sitting with Ken Schellen, who was the content producer, and Lois Maurer, of course, who is the executive producer and the director. And we're talking De Pere, Wisconsin. So Ken, were you assigned this, or were you like, I want to do De Pere?
I jumped all over this one. Lois, thank you for doing De Pere, because one of my best friends lives up in De Pere. So as soon as I saw the list, I'm like, oh, I got to get that one. I've been up there to visit my friend Mark, and I haven't done all the things you can do in the city, so researching my friend's city, it was great.
Nice, it was a twofer.
It was a twofer, yes. Very exciting.
So did you go to the site survey as well?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you went a couple days early to visit
your friend? I went to the site survey, stayed with my friend, had dinner with them, and actually, if I can give a shout out, Mark, Jenny, and their kids, Emily and Sarah, I think they all contributed ideas.
Let's take a moment, too, and talk about, since this is our second episode of Season 2, talk about what it means when I ask you, in the site survey, did you, talk about preparation for doing one of these?
For sure. Well, we always like to go to the town beforehand, do a site survey, get the lay of the land, and our contact is the Convention and Visitors Bureau person. That's a good place to start, at least. Yeah. Talk to the CVB, in this case, Tina Quigley, and say, what are some places that you think we should go if we're talking about your town? And of course, if you're in De Pere, you also have to talk about St. Norbert College. Some of it's going to be about St. Norbert College. Yeah. So I contacted them. Mike Counter was the guy who helped us there. So between the two of them, you get a lot of ideas. But you can't just take their idea. You got to go explore. You got to go get the feeling for the town, see how big the town is, how's the parking? They're parking at St. Norbert. What about this both sides of the river thing? Which way does the sun hit the buildings? You can figure all that out beforehand, so you're not wasting time when you've got John McGivern in front of the camera. You gotta be efficient by that. No?
And because we only have 3 days
sell it.
to do a lot of stuff.
Yes, you better be prepared. So when you guys get back, Lois, and you have all of these things that you saw, that you experienced, that were suggested, how do you get it down to 8?
You pick the ones that most interest us. So it's unique things. You're going to go to Seroogy's because Seroogy's is famous in De Pere and everybody knows it. It's a chocolate factory. Come on. And I believe this was before your diet.
It was.
So John has been on a diet, and but when we were in De Pere, he was still eating the chocolate.
He was eating with reckless abandon at
So
Seroogy's.
that was fantastic.
Which is the point, Ken.
Yes.
Which is the point for my diet.
So you pick the things in the communities that are unique to that community, and then sometimes they're just stuff that's interesting,
Because format-wise, I do 8 interviews. We do 8 stand-ups. 4 of them I do. 4 of them Emmy Fink, the co-host does. Our co-host does. And then we do these question and answer teasers, really.
There's like 3 trivia questions
right,
where you do the question and Emmy will give the answer.
So element-wise, there's really 16, 17, 18, 19 things that you have to deal with, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, it's a 25-minute show.
Right.
So there's a lot to pack in there, but that's one of the charms of this show, I think, is that there is so much there. We don't go into depth on anything.
Because I'm not very deep.
I didn't say that.
I'm a simple man.
Because we don't have time. But, when we're editing these things, so let's go back and tell them how this happens. We do a site survey. We prepare all of the content, make all of the schedule for the shoot. We go to the location. We shoot for 3 days. That footage comes back and gets ingested, and then our editor takes over. Sometimes the content producer edits. Sometimes they don't. It depends on what's happening, around Plum Media. However, when we are editing down a 1-hour interview that you just did at Seroogy's, it literally has to be cut down to about 2 minutes.
Wow.
So that is a huge process.
And when you say an hour interview, it's not actually me standing with somebody for an hour. That includes all of the walk around. That includes whatever we're going to do. Like if it's a business, if they put me to work, like it's that hour of face-to-face with whoever it is.
Which is dictated by the size of the business or the size of the operation.
Yeah, right.
So, for example, we were at Luna Coffee this time, and his name was Mark as well. And what a nice man. And he actually roasts the coffee there at Luna, which you got to do.
Right.
But there's this whole basement full of beans, and there's all of these different recipes. And so what shows up in the episode is just a fraction of what we did. A place like Luna where you're waiting for coffee to roast, well, now that one's going to be an hour and a half. Because we need it to be a little longer for whatever process. So every schedule is based on what the content dictates to us.
So when you guys get back and you sit down and you decide this is what we're going to feature, is there ever a discussion where somebody walks out of the room saying, I can't believe we're not going to do that? Or do you come to like minds around it? What?
We try to shield Lois from
I
that
haven't
sort of
heard
thing.
that because I'm the one that said, that's not going to make it. We really do try to, all the stuff that, like I said, we're very indicative of our viewers. If we're jazzed about something and we just think it's super interesting, we're going to find a way to make it happen.
Yeah, of course. We're looking for things that are fun and interesting and good for TV, some visual, and those bubble to the top pretty easily.
Then people have to realize that what happens after all of that, after all of your deciding and you come to terms, then what comes out after all of that is what's known as the Bible.
Yes.
So the Bible comes to me, right?
It's very presumptuous of us,
A
but
week
you better follow it.
we end up at that community, I get the Bible. And the Bible is everything. So all those stand-ups you see me do alone, those were written and put into the Bible, and I get it, and I memorize those 4 stand-ups.
Yeah.
I memorize the open, I memorize the teaser questions,
Yeah.
and then I get a list of the interviews. So it's all
are you
done.
tired yet?
We,
Just talking about it makes
my
you
Lord,
go,
no, it's everything.
you
And
gotta
I
love
don't,
it.
can I tell you, I do it gleefully. I do it without much moaning. Right, Lois?
Not much.
Here's the truth. People don't know this about you. What they see is what they get.
Oh,
It's the truth, John. It's the truth. You are the same off camera as you are on camera. The truth is. Now, we're good friends, so you might moan to me a little bit about, oh, you're making me start at 7 a.m. or, oh, my God, this was a long day or it's too hot. That kind of stuff. But the truth is when you get in front of those people and you're talking to the pizzeria, the people at Strata Pizza, you're as interested in their product as I've ever seen you be interested in anything because it really is your personality to be curious.
Yeah.
You're a curious sort.
Yeah, actually, the people ask me if I'm talking to them on the phone. Yeah, John will come and interview. Oh, what are the questions? Send me a list of questions. And I always say, it's not really a list of questions. John's just a curious guy. He'll ask you, about your business and just find interesting things to
where'd
ask
you get those shoes on?
Yeah.
And De Pere was episode 2. So again, we were, it was early on in our season. And not that we were finding our way because we had last year to find our way, but then this year we kind of found a better way to do it. So, and that was proven early on, I believe.
Yeah.
So our schedule changed to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. Emmy Fink joined
Got
us.
Emmy, yeah.
We now have 4 producers 4 content producers. That happened last season as well, but I think it was, they knew what they had to do, and I just thought this season was much more streamlined.
Yeah. And scheduled within an inch of its life.
Well, I was going to say about the scheduling, there's the Bible with this whole list, but the scheduling, because it's the Tetris board of, well, this person can only do it in the morning, and this person can only do it, after 3, up till 10 or after 3. It's just putting all those together, and they can only do it on Tuesday, but this guy can only do it on Wednesday. Figuring all that out. It's fun. It eventually comes together like Tetris, and okay, we got it.
And then I get it, and I'm like, what about? But De Pere, I thought it was a great episode. Want to wear something that's going to support your favorite show? Shop at Main Street Store. proceeds go to help us get next season into production. So come on, go shopping at mainstreets.tv. You know, I've got to talk about insurance. Are you stressed and overwhelmed with your Medicare Advantage plan options? It's ironic, really. The thing you need the most causes you stress. And it doesn't have to be that way. I chose Network Health because it's not stressful. For 40 years, they've provided health insurance to Medicare members throughout Wisconsin. And their customer service, oh, let me tell you something. It's like nothing I've ever experienced before. So if you're looking for a Medicare Advantage plan and you want to be relieved of stress, you got to call my friends at Network Health. Call 844-277-7174 today. That's 844-277-7174. Don't wait.
Well, I have a very good friend, and so do you, Marianne Lazarski, whose daughter Grace went to St. Norbert. I also have a nephew that went to St. Norbert, so I mean, it's not unknown. I also have Packers season tickets, and so we go through De Pere, so it's not like, and I know that some people think it's a suburb of Green Bay, and it's really not.
Right.
It is its own, it's got its own vibe, and it's got its own heartbeat.
That was the cool thing. We got to treat it as its own thing. It wasn't in relation to Green Bay. This is De Pere.
What was your favorite thing that we did there?
Well, because of my background in religious school, I love St. Norbert.
Oh,
I loved Father Jim, the Norbertine, who took time and answered everything and was wide open, and I just thought he was great.
He was laughing.
And what an outfit.
Yeah. Snappy dresser. Yeah.
He likes white.
What a beautiful chapel.
Yep.
Been there forever. It's been through a couple of renovations, but you just walk in and you feel the peace, and it was beautiful.
So we had to certainly cover religious there,
Correct.
Part of the religious order.
Right.
But then we got to experience the guy who runs the dining room, services, which has an incredible reputation around the country.
Yeah.
And that guy was great,
Yeah.
Josh Swanson, and he got me doing some. What was I doing? Walking. That's that's right. I was going to say pan frying, but that wasn't it.
Yeah.
So we walked, as in a walk, and vegetables and chicken.
Yeah.
And he showed us all around the dining services. It was great.
I was looking for something, at the university they do some interesting brain research, and my friend Mark teaches economics there, but a tourist is not going to experience those things. So you're kind of looking like, what's sort of a public facing? And then, they have the top rated college food in the state. Oh, well, that's something that people can understand, and
they can eat
They can
there.
even come there. Yeah, the public can come in and eat there. So.
Right. That was good. What was your favorite? Ken, what did you think?
I think, Seroogy is because Joe's such a character.
Wasn't he?
Yeah, we were on the site survey, and he was showing us around, and we kind of passed by in their warehouse storage area there, and I was looking. I said, we work for Plum Media. I got the Plum Media logo on my shirt, and they have raspberry chocolates, and I'm like, hey Joe, can you do a plum chocolate? And he looked at me like, what are you, crazy? Plum? And I just knew at that moment he would joke around with you.
Yeah.
He would goof around and make jokes and give as good as he gets. So Joe was just fun to be with.
I like our maple creams.
When you say it's a cream, what does that mean, really?
Soft center.
Soft center.
Yeah. It's a favorite of people who have difficulty negotiating hard centers. I guess what I'm trying to say is people who have bad teeth.
People with bad teeth love the creams. And he put me to work.
And he put you to work for
seriously.
Sure. Several different stations, not just like one place. We're going to get some work out of this McGivern guy.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. So how can you not love Seroogy's? But the other thing I really liked there was their art alley.
Oh, yeah.
I just, I love public art, as you guys know, and I like to cover, things that are beautiful. But it's literally an alley that used to be just a kind of a dank, awful place. And what they have in there now is a collaboration of two artists, one a sculptor and one a painter. And she's a painter/photographer, really. And they live in De Pere, and their shops are like right down the street. And they got the commission to do this alley. And it's inviting, and it's interesting, and it tells a really good story. story.
Yeah. And it's something that, I was surprised that it's the only one around. That this is, I'm like, how did other communities not say, could you come and help us?
Well, hopefully this episode will help that because their message in this alley is about the bees. It's about the bees. And there are giant bees on the walls, but there are photographs that really have an interesting, not only look to them, but they make you think a little bit.
Right.
And when I was talking to the sculptor on the phone, setting all this up, she was saying, oh yeah, when I sculpted all those bees, when they were kind of half done, her whole backyard was full of bees, half-made giant bees. So I guess when you're a sculptor, that comes with the territory, right? Yeah.
She was a character too.
Yeah.
Well, ever since a little girl, I always used to do sculptures and paper mache. And then I just like to be big. I don't like to do tiny things. So I started working bigger and bigger.
And when this came up and she said bees,
Yep.
is this what you thought of?
Yeah.
Are they all different or are they all similar?
So the bodies that you see are all the same, but the wings and the legs are all different on each one.
Yeah.
The sculptor had an interesting way and was so involved in making sure we knew how it worked and how she did it. And I mean, it was great. Yeah. And the collaboration between the two of them, how they came together and how they met and how they decided. And it's a really good story. And the fact that DePere got him to do it was perfect.
I completely agree.
Yeah. We also did the locks on the fox, which when we did the other show, we had done that as well, but this was a little more understandable.
Yeah, and we were in Appleton when we did the other locks.
Right.
And DePere's is actually the busiest lock in the system.
Yeah.
But this was very well explained by the volunteers. That whole thing is volunteer run, which is kind of amazing, and still used for traffic. I mean, the boat traffic needs to pass through the lock.
Yeah. And then we got onto a boat that we experienced it.
Yeah.
So not only did I open and close the locks, then I experienced what it was like to be in the middle of the locks when they opened and closed.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good. I'm glad we got to do that.
Well, it's a fun park down there with the pelicans are there and the paper mills across the street. So producer standpoint, I was like, okay, John can shoot 7 things right here. The locks and the paper mill and the pelicans and all the different things just happen right there on the river.
It was a good episode, you guys. Ken, you did a great job. We really appreciate it. And we will, DePere is accessible to us Wisconsinites.
Yeah.
Right.
And to anybody. I think people should visit.
Curious to find out where John is traveling next? Head over to our website, mainstreets.tv, to learn more. Again, that's mainstreets.tv. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast and please leave us a review. It helps more people discover great programming like Main Streets. Look for us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to follow all the action. John McGivern's Main Streets is produced by Plum Media in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.